There you go, Mr. Jennings. All right, 12:30. Let's call the infrastructure committee meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Steve Brenner.
Here.
Keith Stern.
Here.
Jen Warner. Here. Fred Vogel.
Here.
And Dave Reeser.
Here. All right. Any public comment?
No, not for me.
So this is Greg Capriola, our new Assistant Public Works Director.
Oh, welcome. How are you? Congratulations. Getting them wet. Well, wet. All right, hearing no public comment, we move on to the zoning codes report.
So the report's pretty self-explanatory unless anybody has specific questions. Update on some prior zoning hearings. The variance request for the flagpole at 1198 Reading Boulevard was denied.
Okay, why was it?
Why?
I got curious.
Why was it denied?
Yeah. Did it pre-exist?
No.
Oh,
It was put up without a permit in August.
okay, then I understand.
Okay. 919 North Main Street, the variance request for the detached garage was approved, and then upcoming hearings, March 7th for 48 Cardinal Road, an appeal of the enforcement notice that was issued, and for 220 North Park Road, variance for use approval for a doggy daycare facility.
Diggity dog.
Yes, they currently operate in Warnersville, so this would be their second location.
Okay.
Does anybody have any questions regarding the enforcement activity report, which is voluminous?
It's very lengthy. I just have two quick questions. One is there a reason why there's a ton of like grass parking issues in just the hills?
Yeah, so there was an enforcement notice issued to a resident in the hills, I'm gonna say end of November, beginning of December. That person did what they needed to comply, but at the same time sent a list of, I think it was like 30 plus properties, and he's like, you need to now look at all of these. So, I mean, in fairness, we
Okay,
went and looked
so
at
they
all of
just
them.
tattletale on the hills,
Yeah,
nobody else, okay. My next question would be, all the way down at the bottom, there's Wyomissing, 19 Wyomissing Boulevard, I think it's 19 Wyomissing Boulevard. I think that's supposed to be Wyo Hills Boulevard. Yeah,
At the bottom.
that should be, I think
that
that
is
should be
Wyomissing
Wyo
Hills
Hills
Boulevard, I noticed from the owner name.
Yeah,
I think that was just a
More grass.
typo.
yeah, it's all grass.
I think that was just a typo in the report, because I get copies of all these NOVs, and I know it came in for the hills.
Okay, that's all.
Does anybody else have any questions?
Are they gonna continue to like tattle, like, is this gonna be an ongoing like hills issue? Not that I have any this. Okay. Till, yeah, till somebody comes over here, okay, sounds good. I'll send somebody over. All right, that's all I have.
All right.
That's not
Yeah, what was all that in Cardinal?
Yeah, the trash.
From my understanding, Cardinal was there was a complaint filed, and they went to review the complaint and noticed multiple violations throughout the entire block, I believe on both sides of Cardinal. So they sent out just a generic letter out to everybody instead of to remind them of what's going on.
Can we know what that was about? What kind of violation?
Moving on, anybody else have any other questions?
All right.
Okay, Service Electric, we got something to talk about.
Yeah, legal counsel representing the Borough of Cone Park Group had negotiated a draft agreement with Service Electric, and they're offering that to the borough for the borough's review to see if it's acceptable to the borough. There is an executive summary that I think was in your meeting packets that I think very succinctly summarizes the key terms of the draft agreement. The borough would receive a 5% franchise fee on all the eligible payments or sources of revenue, which will match what we have with Comcast. They're going to require the standard, service standard requirements, and what I mean by that are, you know, the responsiveness that the company is required to provide to customers when they're connecting or when they have service issues. And those are the same as what we have with Comcast. There's language that protects our right-of-way, and what that does is to require them to be in communication with the borough before they trim or cut down any trees in the public right-of-way during their installation activities. They're required to give the borough copies of their service area maps upon the request of the borough. And they're required to make any repairs that are, if there's damage to any of our facilities due to their activities. So all those things, I think, are sufficient to protect the borough's interest when they're working within the right-of-way. There is a connection requirement, which is something that we had talked about being a concern to ensure that there is an adequate commitment for connection. They're agreeing that they will connect all the residential areas within 2 years of the execution of the agreement. There is a density requirement that that says that if there's more than 50 units in a linear mile, they will go underground. If there are fewer units in a linear mile, they'll go overground. And if there are fewer than 25 units within a linear mile, they may not serve that area without the customers contributing to the cost. I'm confident that we have enough density to require the coverage throughout the residential area. I'm not sure how that 50 units per linear mile for underground service would actually map out in the borough. If that's something that the borough wants an answer to before you take any action on this, it's something we would have to evaluate. I think those are the key things. There's also a capital grant. We have a capital grant and that's a payment per unit that they're required to make to the borough. We have a grant like that in the Comcast agreement, but it's for a larger specific amount. This one is on a per unit amount, and I think that's appropriate because they don't have any customers yet. So it's really reflecting the process of establishing the service. So the next time that we would do an agreement with Service Electric at the expiration of this one, I would expect that that term would be more generous to the borough, but because it's a build-up situation, I think it's okay for the time being. This would be a 10-year agreement, which is the shortest that Service Electric is willing to offer. And the Cohen Law Group recommends that we go with the shortest term possible because of the likelihood of continuing evolution in the technology, and there may be a desire at some point to renegotiate. But the shortest term that Service Electric would agree to is 10 years. And again, I think that's appropriate because they're going to build out the system, and they need some assurance that they'll be able to have the franchise for a reasonable period of time. Michelle, can you think of anything else we talked to Cohen about that I didn't mention?
I think you covered everything.
Okay, so again, the key terms, I didn't go over all of them, but I went over most of them, are in the executive summary. If you have any questions, we'll follow up on it. If you're satisfied with what I've described, then I would look for a recommendation to council from the committee to advertise the ordinance that's necessary to approve the agreement with Service Electric.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
I have a question. And,
Question?
yeah, we have areas of this borough that all utilities are buried. And I would like to know what would take place, you know, in those areas. I
Okay,
mean, what are we gonna do, put a pole up?
Well, I thought there was something, and it wasn't in the executive summary, I believe, but I think it's in the agreement, that says that if all utilities are underground, they will be underground. So what they're looking for in that is that, you know, they don't wanna be singled out to say that other people can be above ground, but Service Electric has to be underground.
You're gonna follow the current.
Right. So my recollection is that they have agreed that where all the other utilities are underground, they will also go underground.
I read that as well.
Except for that fiber optic company is doing as well. They're doing the same thing.
Yeah.
So they're gonna come along and dig again, do it again.
For their water. Yeah, they're not gonna help each other.
No, apparently not, but I mean, they're gonna,
Probably cut each other's cable though.
Right. Something we should be aware of though is fast fiber is in Wyomissing Hills as we speak. And if a year from now, Service Electric comes in and starts doing the same thing, people are gonna freak out over there, digging up their front yards.
Well,
Why is it?
they're coming,
No, they're doing a really
coming
good
to the
job.
entire borough.
Now,
Yeah, but they started freaking out when it first started.
Oh, they did, but like you can't even tell they were digging the grass.
Right,
It's
exactly.
actually dead grass is back in place and everything. Weeds have been returned. All that, you can't even tell they moved
the
there.
trailer on top of the grass and
Yeah.
weeds.
Yeah, I had someone complain to me, so I just stopped by their house and looked at their complaint. And it's a friend of mine, I started laughing at him. I go,
Yeah,
that
sure.
was there, that was
Yeah.
there before.
But it generates a lot, it does generate a lot of phone calls.
It is a public right of way though.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, explain to people.
Well, get ready for
Did
it,
they
it's
just
coming
do that?
everywhere else
Now
in the
they're doing
borough
it
too,
again.
so it's
You
coming.
know,
how far along are they with
We're getting pretty close.
All right, wait, we have a motion and a second to accept the cable, Service Electric, franchise agreement and advance it to council. Motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it, we'll move it to council. Yep. Western Berks Water Authority, can't take care of
Okay,
this.
let's start with the Western, North Street, Parkway, continuing saga. Every month at our meeting, I say, oh, okay, how are we doing this month? Are we making any headway? Where we are right now, Rawa is supposed to video the pipe to find out exactly where the problem is. Now, I thought this was done months ago, but obviously it wasn't.
We looked at the video.
They're gonna, Rawa's gonna video it again
I thought we
to
solved it.
isolate, this is the pipe under the bypass.
Yeah,
I'm with you, every month I go to the state meeting, I'm thinking, wait,
I
I
watched
thought
the
we
video
talked about
coming
this
from
3
both
months
ends
ago.
of the pipe. So why did they think it got better with age, like wine?
Hey, I don't know, that's the answer I got, and after we get that video, then we have to submit a scope of work to PennDOT. So, it's a continuing saga, is what it is. Am I excluding anything, Chris? I mean, am I pretty much laying it out the way I see it?
No, I didn't really understand it either. The last time I went in, apparently they only got stills in that video. That's why they need to go back. But that's the only other thing I know.
Well, there's 14 feet of missing pipe. I don't know that it anymore.
There's
It's
more.
gone.
It's a pretty big gap.
It's gone. Well, how the hell can they video where the problem is?
So you can only get from one end to the other. And,
Coming from either side.
and the station difference is
There's the
14
problem,
feet.
the pipes gone.
The pipe's blown out. There's pieces of
I
pipe
can
all
do
over the
without a
place.
camera if you get me on a boat.
Yeah, I was
There it
just
is,
gonna
14
say,
feet
well,
is
I'll call Chip back, I just talked to him this morning, he said, Robert was supposed to video the problem.
Their engineer was all nervous about doing that work, and I said, I told them you have an existing permit which allows you to do maintenance. So this is maintenance, your pipe broke,
Right.
if it was actively feeding and it broke, they would just go fix it. And then after the fact, you tell them, no, we went in and fixed the broken pipe under our permit, that's all they really should have done, I don't understand why it's not done.
I don't know.
I really don't know why they need to video it again.
Well, I don't know either.
Because the camera couldn't get through the debris where the pipe exploded from,
I think somebody's giving somebody a load of you-know-what.
Yeah, I'm starting to get the feeling that when this was a Western Berks Water Authority problem, Rawa was very happy to help, and now that it's turned into a Rawa problem.
Well,
when they all thought it was us paying the bill, they wanted it done like immediately.
right.
And now that it's them paying the bill, I mean, we were in here in July. And they were talking about wanted us to have it done by September first.
Yeah, they were giving me mid-September, midsummer, I said, midsummer, I thought you were talking 2 months.
Do we need a letter from the borough to tell
Well,
them to
let's
start figuring
wait,
this out?
but
Because
I can
at some point
assure
we gotta
you,
get- We gotta get this.
We,
thing.
we are on their case and we're on top of it, and I was thinking that at some point we should write a letter. Let's just,
And
I don't know.
who's your solicitor for the Western Berks Water Authority?
Beg pardon?
Who's the solicitor for Western Berks Water Authority?
Mayor Boyer,
Let's get Van and Boyer to get a little fire lit underneath Robo maybe too.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was going at light speed all of a sudden until the
Right,
bolt
it's
got, arrow went the other way.
So we,
And it ended.
until we weren't paying for it.
Right.
Right.
So, you know, so, yeah, it's very frustrating.
How about the Buttonwood Street, or Jenny talking about?
According to Chip, there's nothing being done with that at the moment. And that's a raw problem also. I think.
They're too busy with it.
I'm not sure of that. Did you agree with that, Jim, or?
I believe the ownership of both of those are the same, because the agreements were all done at the same time. So I think whatever responsibility Rawa and Western Berks have, it's the same on both of those interconnects. Coming from the
Nothing
city.
is being done on Buttonwood Street at the moment that I know.
I could see them TV in that one. Because that one's not TV, that one just started leaking in all the joints.
Remind them that they already have a TV, they already have a video. If we need to send it to them again, we can. I think.
They sent it to us.
Well, then we can.
Oh, you have a video?
Yeah, he watched it.
Rawa sent me and
Maybe they
him
talk
the
about
video.
Rich.
That's how we
Well,
saw it.
I wonder if they're not.
Well, it's not our, it's not the Burrs video, we didn't video
Oh, I
it.
know that. I wonder if they're not talking about Buttonwood Street video,
They're
maybe.
confused.
Yeah,
Maybe.
I'm confused.
Maybe they're confusing the two.
Yeah.
All right,
Give
well,
us
I
a-
will.
give us a quick update of Borough Council then,
Yeah, I will.
next time we can talk about. Alright,
What we got next? What we got?
That's because of the timing. We just had our meeting, on the 9th. We just approved last month's minutes at that meeting. I'm not so that, I think we missed the, council packet. Well, I think it's a timing issue when we meet.
But I still haven't gotten the January meeting minutes,
You still haven't?
no.
We approved those in January, not January, January. Well,
We would have just approved the January minutes.
we just approved a January meeting, of minutes, so what, last week?
So-
You still don't have those? I don't know, I don't understand that.
alright, anything else for the Western Berks Water Authority? Number 7, water. Anything to add there?
I got a few things here. A is the only really good thing I'm gonna have. We spoke before briefly about this new DEP lead rule. And we have till the end of, or October of 2024 to generate a spreadsheet to prove that we don't have any lead service lines. The good thing that happened is going back into old ordinances, we can go back to 1948 where our spec or ordinance said copper only. So I'm assuming that's a big bonus that we would only have to worry about things that came prior to 1948, but we'll see how that shakes out.
That's why I'm missing, do you have any information on?
We don't have to worry about Wyomissing Hills because of the PA
It's not because it's for water.
How do you prove a negative like that?
Yeah,
They
that's-
don't have lead.
It's not.
It's, believe me, it'll become a
Door to door
full-time
inspection.
job 2 or 3 years out from now.
You almost have to inspect it.
Yeah.
Yep,
Inside and out.
That's what they want you to
Dig
do.
it up the
That's
chimney.
what it'll come to. Yeah,
Until they realize what they put in.
That's
And then
not
that's
really
just-
expensive.
you know, it's ridiculous.
and those portions,
Okay. Wexcon starting on Monday?
Wexcon is going to start the water line job next Monday, the 27th. This is Trent Avenue from Reading Boulevard to Parkside Drive. Should take them about 2 weeks. I would possibly like to, doesn't have to be done today, but put a change order on that already Some of you are aware there's a hydrant out on Reading Boulevard, that is not working, 1800 block, I guess it is. And, we've been dragging our feet on it because there's gas lines right there, there's a big electric vault right there. And, we could do it, but it would be scary for us to do it. I'd like to supply them the materials and do a change order for them to actually do the physical work. Part of their contract currently, we have 4 hydrant replacements on the contract. And the line item for that is $11,555 per hydrant. But that includes materials, so I would suspect this would be a $5,000, $6,000 change order. So I'm just fishing to say, are you open?
Do you have materials in hand?
Listen, you're telling us you're scared to do it, we're talking about gas and electric, I have no problem getting professional people who do that every day to do it, so. Do we need a commitment from the, do we need to vote on that, or do we just say?
Well, you
Recommend.
recommend, do you want to subject to finance?
Okay, so,
I'll ask them for a hard number. I don't know if they can give a hard number, because it's just labor, I don't know.
What's the timing though? If they're gonna start the 27th,
Oh, true.
you're gonna need approval before,
Right.
what? It's gonna be before 5.
How about not to, you want to do a not to exceed?
Yeah, let's go not to exceed, and then the motion will be to council to ratify the approval granted by this committee.
It'll, yeah, finance will be before the next council meeting, but it won't be before they.
No, I just think this committee has to make the decision now, and it looks like there's a lot of council people in the room, so.
They're all here.
alright, so we need a motion, everyone make that motion, I'll make a motion.
What number do they want to put on?
What's
Let's,
the-
to be
not to
safe, I'd like to
exceed.
say 7,000.
Not to exceed 7,000, I make that one.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to have Wexcon, work on the hydrant on the 800 block of Reading Boulevard, subject to council's ratification. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. I should have put in there $7,000 maximum, too, sorry.
If it turns out more than that, don't hold up the work, just get back to us, bring it up at whatever meeting we're gonna have next. Get it approved.
All right, Jim, anything else there, buddy?
On that raw wall backup is kind of redundant. I think Dave can speak more to this, that they have done some plant shutdowns and
Yes.
we don't know anything happened, so that's good.
Nothing is, we feel comfortable. But yeah, that's, 7D, you said backup emergency interconnection test completed. I don't know, where does that come from? I don't agree with that. Yes, we're
So
continuing.
there was no backup emergency interconnection?
We had
test?
tried to do it 3 months ago.
Yes.
When Buttonwood Street broke and then we terminated that test.
So we can't say that it's completed, is my point.
True.
It is not complete.
Okay, so we need to change
It failed.
7D to say that the backup emergency interconnection test has not passed.
Is ongoing or something, it's not complete.
Interrupted.
The test was completed, but they failed.
Okay, so we can say that they failed.
For the fighting process.
I don't like to say that the backup failed,
It didn't pass on there.
The pipe broke,
well, because of the pipe.
yes.
Well, why don't we change the word completed to status update, and then it'll just be an ongoing item on the agenda until we get a positive
Change the
response.
status
It's
update.
non-functional.
Oh, wait a minute, that's not what the engineer said.
It's non-functional, we should have said non-functional.
No, I know.
Is that
No,
specifically
this is
referring
just
to
talking
you, or
about the
that's-
topic, we're not talking about the
So
actual
that's the one
reality of it.
when,
So it's gonna be on
Yeah,
there
but,
next month
just-
saying
it's
what's the
not
update
talking
now.
about,
Didn't pass test yet this time.
Get the flow testing in
Does
Burr
that
Township.
complete include both Buttonwood and Warren Street?
I mean, that was our interconnection test with West.
At the time when we were gonna do this test, we had already figured that Warren Street was out of commission. This was to see if we could supply the borough water without Warren
Without
Street.
Warren Street.
Warren Street.
And then the
Then
Buttonwood
Buttonwood
broke.
Street went down. So it really relates to Buttonwood Street. Yeah, but certainly it's not complete.
No, wait, the test is complete, just,
You failed.
Thank you, Phil.
Item E, this was on the agenda, this is just informatory to, a few months back. UCMR, Unregulated Contaminant Monitoring Rule, I believe that stands for. This is a DEP item also, where they want certain water companies, that we've got picked for whatever reason, to test for items that aren't regulated now, they're unregulated. These are chemicals, the only thing I can read on here is lithium is one of them, I understand that. And then there's 4 others that from talking to people are, they call them forever chemicals that have to do with Scotch Guard or waterproofing, things that they think are in the water system that they may want to regulate in the future. We have to take 4 samples 4 times in 2023, and we're on the hook for all the analytical work, so it's $3,200 to sample for these unregulated contaminants. Just
Is
passing
this a
that.
condition of
I'm assuming so.
I mean, they said you let us
I have correspondence.
I assume the 40 are different spots throughout the entire property.
No, it's one spot, we only have to sample at one location, but 4 times. Yeah. Shillington has to do it too.
Same location 4 times.
Correct.
That cause are killing us. I mean, there's all these environmental issues, state issues, federal issues, more and more and more and more testing.
Yeah, I don't know about the lithium, but the PFOS,
Yeah.
that's the forever chemicals.
That's
They
that.
are in the water and they are gonna start regulating them.
Jim, do you need
That's gonna be
additional money
expensive.
to fulfill this, or you have?
We have a line item for water sampling, for our regular sampling, we'll probably go over the budget somewhere. I don't know what that total line item is, it's not a lot of money for sampling.
Do you want a motion to authorize additional funding for that portion of your budget?
Let's wait to see what it is.
See when he gets close to it.
And the last item is, for some reason that I'm not clear on, we had 2 water leaks last week within 100 yards of each other, over in Birdland, one on Old Mill and Oriole, and one on Oriole. Very unusual, because it wasn't cold out. That's the cut we cut off up the farm.
Opposite of my street. The other side.
Got it. Yep.
There's a pressure reducing valve that serves that area, I don't know if it got pulled up for a period of time. But it's really unusual, and I'm just passing it along.
Okay. Right, anything else under, I lost where we are, number 7 water?
No, nothing else on the.
Okay. Any other questions for Jim? All right, hearing none. Number 8, sanitary sewer.
The contractor that did the work last year, Jim's office bid the work with Sewer Specialties. And they did a great job. And they are on a CoStar's contract. So, I decided to ask him just for CoStar's pricings to maybe eliminate the need to bid the thing. And he did. And everything I want to do in 2023 comes in at 500 and...
Is that this one?
Yeah, I think it's $555,000. We only have a $400,000 budget. I can pick and choose. I mean, these are all things that need to get done. Can some of them wait a year? Yeah. The main, or most costly is item number 9, the actual lining of pipe, 4,100 feet, $188,000. And the item underneath that 10 is ones I didn't do last year because we didn't have money, 3,850 feet, or $177,000. So I would just have to re-look at those a little bit and prioritize and take some of that linear footage out to get us down to $400,000, unless you wanted to spend money on sewer.
Look at interest.
You could
Not that-
bid it out, and if you don't like the bids, reject all the bids and still go with CoStar's contract.
We could. It's just effort on Jim's office.
It's just more costly.
I checked his cost compared to he was the low bidder last year when we went out to bid. And his prices are the same across the board except for the pipelining. It was $43 a foot last year, this time it's $46 a foot. That's the only change in unit price that I saw.
I mean, in Kenner's, we've been using him, sewer specialist for the last 22 years for CoStar's, and I know that Chillington, Kenner's, Vancouver, all, the three of them all use them through CoStar. Just saves the cost of the advertisements, but the other bid specs, and that kind of cost, you know, the borough saves all that.
You don't have to bid it if it's CoStar's.
Correct. Yeah.
And his pricing is the same as last year when we did it, except for the line is $3 a foot more than it was.
Everything else
It's
stays
$3
the
a
same.
foot more, 4,100 feet.
Well,
That's,
it looks like we're also gonna be over on the streets though too, Jim, right? I mean, we're about 100,000 over on the
Yeah.
streets,
Yes, we are.
so,
Let's go for 250,000.
yeah, I mean, it's
I
not,
don't wanna make anybody panic, it's not a panic situation. Pipe I want a line, it's probably been that way for quite a few years, and I don't think another year is gonna make a difference, but if you wanna say, hey, let's do, $420,000, something, you know.
So you're saying we didn't do number 9 last year, the 2021 full line you repair?
Correct. That was on the agenda to do
Last year?
last year,
But we did not.
but we did not
So
stay
we-
within that $400,000.
So if we do last year's but not this year's, put off this year's, then you're in budget, but,
but we didn't reserve for what you didn't do last year, we didn't reserve for
you
that.
didn't.
Yeah.
Maybe, sure.
I don't know, we must have I think we traded it off, I think we used it for something else, didn't we, Jim?
No, I think it was probably, I'll fall on the sword for that, I had that $400,000 number, and said, we're not gonna be able to do these, we'll postpone it a year. I don't even know if you, as a group, knew about that we didn't do certain things I wanted to do. I was just trying to stay within $400,000.
Yeah, I mean, because we didn't go under budget, though, either.
Slightly, very
Yeah,
slightly.
I mean, it's,
25,000, I think.
yeah,
Or-
so,
I'm confused, if we're talking about the only thing that went up is the $3 per square foot, or linear foot, excuse me, not square foot, linear foot. That's only $24,000.
A lot more, there's a lot more things on my to-do list than just that pipeline.
Historically, our I&I plan at the borough has been, we televise the different quadrants, and whatever we find wrong in this quadrant this year, we do those repairs the following. So that is what we report to DEP as our official I&I plan. So just, we didn't do the 21 repairs. as
We did
part
some of them, we just
Right, we
didn't
didn't
do
do all of them as part of the 22 cleaning, televising, and repair project.
So the sum of them in 2021 lighting repair,
We just had a lot of bad pipe in what we videoed in 21. It
so
was-
we still have 4,100, basically what we're saying is we did some of it, but there's still 4,100 feet left.
Right.
Well, it makes sense if Jim goes through and prioritizes, maybe you can include that 121 in the priority, and maybe there's other stuff in there to get within budget. I think that makes more sense.
At least get closer to budget.
yeah, I think you gotta look at it and say, if it needs to be done, it needs to be done. I mean, pushing it off,
Well, that's what we gotta find out.
Right.
If it can be, if it needs to be done, then you can report back to us.
That
that it
already
needs
said,
to be
what we have
done.
to do is push off the
Push up
2022
2022,
full
now you're
line.
under budget.
Now you're over there.
Right.
There's just, I
And you're
have
a
to
year
look at
behind.
that 2022 tape and see how much of these are emergency, not emergencies, but high priority, and how many are low priority.
Right.
Well, can you take a look at that and get back to us next meeting? That makes sense?
when do you have to?
When would you do this?
We're no rush, work will get
So
done.
this isn't a
so-
timing issue,
No.
if you have to wait till next
No,
month to get
no,
that.
next month's fine.
So we'll see this next month then.
Even if you go over budget, just try to get it close.
Closer, right.
Typical sewer specialties mobilizes into this area and they do all the municipalities, because they're from New York. They do, you know, just the order, whoever signs up first tends to be the first one they do, they just go in order and by the municipalities and do all the cleaning, televising, and then they do all the repairs.
Well, you know, you could bring it to finance. You could just bring it to finance if you want to do that quicker than next month, this meeting.
I'll see how
It's
fast.
a budgetary thing, not a,
See how
we're already
fast
said you
I
can do it, but you gotta have money for it now. So if you can get it done for finance, just bring it there.
When's finance?
March sixth, seventh, eighth,
We-
ninth.
Thursday.
No, it's
No,
ninth.
It's the ninth.
It's late. So it's the same schedule as February,
Yes,
because
Thursday after.
Thursday before council.
Before the
Yeah.
council meeting.
it's the ninth.
It's the, night.
So I'm gonna try to do that. I think that'd be awesome.
Awesome.
Any other good news you got for us?
I'll give you some more bad news when we get to the streets.
Yeah, I already saw that one. Figured that one out.
Berkshire Boulevard is the budget.
Berkshire Boulevard, how much under budget were we on that one?
39,000?
14,000,
14,000.
not including engineering fees. We budgeted 750.
Hey, there you go, Jim, you got 14.
That's the type of project, I hate to be so negative, that there'll probably be some change orders.
Oh, sure.
We'll spend that money.
All right, West Lawn Interceptor.
We,
Uh,
we completed all the survey work, my understanding is that the agreement was finally signed yesterday?
No, the agreement was finally signed by Spring Township a week ago yesterday. Fully executed copies have been sent to all parties, so we're all on the same page as to who is responsible for what, including cost.
Okay.
Did you?
Moving on to streets, go ahead.
On the 50/50 sidewalk, we're holding 5% retainage till grass comes up.
Might come up next week.
Yeah, maybe. We opened bids for the street work and we are, I come up with around $53,000.
I'm all excited this meeting because I'm always trying to say, where can we go to get extra work done? And now we're $53,000.
A little different than last year, I know.
So the 1,319,934.65 is, how much you say, 53,000? I don't have the budget for it.
1,264,000.
Listen, we need to get our streets fixed.
It doesn't make sense.
I think it'd be crazy for the $56,000. I know we're gonna keep, everybody's gonna, I already mentioned some already. The interest is gonna be there, we have extra, we did that before, we spent it also watching. But this is something our streets need to be repaired, so I think I'm gonna make the recommendation that we go ahead with that lowest bid of Construction Master Services LLC for the $1,319,934.65. And make a recommendation to the council to approve.
I'll second.
Motion is second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. It's relatively minor.
Yeah.
All right, anything on the PennDOT State Hill improvements besides these dates that are talking about, 26? Anything new there? Okay.
We have to have another water meeting, because it got,
Yeah, we had a, we're meeting got
Rescheduled.
canceled, and Jim and I are gonna stay after this meeting about some other sewer issues related to that stakeholder report.
And for the pit,
yeah, the meeting was all set up by everyone, then it got canceled at the last minute.
What does the borough have to do, Jim, what decisions we have to make about the roundabout island treatment, Center Island?
We talked about
That's-
stamping the side of it, like, is that happening? You know, the concrete's coming up, we talked about trying to
get them to stamp it, so it looks a little less like a missile launch pad.
Like a,
Right, well, they'll do that, but we have to pay for that. They give plain concrete. We'd have to pay the cost differential between plain concrete and whatever ornamental treatment we want.
There hasn't been any dialogue
No.
since the last meeting.
Their big thing they wanted to know is where we're gonna let it be grass so they can use it as stormwater. We don't want it as grass or landscape, because how, we're just paint it out in the middle of the.
just in basically, there's no 222 this weekend, and that, this, I don't know why we can't just do it that way, but we have to put the big thing up so when someone goes straight through, they get stopped. That's basically what they're doing.
So they
Goes through the
can't see
headlights.
what's on the other side. The idea is you want your visibility focused forward, not like looking
But
over
that's not
here.
how they did them ones up front.
It's the latest and greatest
Right.
roundabout design,
Let's get it done before they change their minds again.
right?
All right, there's nothing really to report there. Cambridge Avenue stream work,
In progress.
we got the environmental clearance, I know we talked about that last month.
Yep, right away environmental was done, still waiting, going back with the structural unit. They'll be asking us for stuff that we already sent them, which we now sent them again for the 5th time.
Nice. Okay. State government work. All right. Cambridge Avenue stream work, that we just talked about, Wyomissing Creek pedestrian bridge,
That's the
Same.
same thing.
same thing. My only question is if the earliest that we'll get the funds would be the winter of 23, 24, it gives us a whole year to get it through 25. Forget it.
But that whole project's going on for
Well-
like 6 years.
We're waiting for grants, that's why.
Well, we needed the grant, then we needed the kind of clearances, and then now, DEP and EPA put limitations on when we can do the work. So that's, we can only do the work November through March.
And keep in mind, this is grant funding we got for 4th Street that we requested
Right.
to, so there's that whole process.
Like Keith just said, thank God we were able to do the emergency repair work to keep it open.
Yeah.
All right, Green Light Go, nothing new except we have,
We have an invoice.
Surely we need to potentially vote to amend the agenda to add consideration of their payment app. I guess I've straightened it out with traffic planning and design, they didn't send over the January or February apps, because they're handling this project, but I got involved when I saw that we hadn't taken action on the January, and they sent us February's. So I think potentially we should consider taking action to approve the January and February invoices based on final review by Jim, and he agrees with the quantities. And we've instructed TPD in the future to write a cover letter to Council on Infrastructure saying, we agree with this payment app, so.
Do we have amounts?
Yep. $11,000 for pay app 1, $44,938 for pay app 2.
how much was that again?
For pay app 2,
Yeah.
$44,938. And just, there's about $352,000 of work to remain.
Okay, so we need a motion to amend the agenda.
I'll make a motion to amend the agenda.
Second. Motion to second, amend the agenda, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any public comment? Hearing none. We need a motion to recommend payment of payment app number 1 and 2 for the Green Light Go 2018 in the amounts of $11,000.
There's both together. They didn't break them out.
18 and 19.
It's 18 and 19.
Okay, so it's the 18 and 19 Green Light Go in the amounts of $11,000 for application number, payment application number 1, and $44,938 for payment application number 2. There's a motion and a second to approve what I just said. All those in favor?
This is subject to Jim's review.
Well, I kind of disagree with that. I'm not gonna go up and look at every LED light bulb. We're paying traffic planning to do that. I'm not looking.
Okay.
Okay, no condition.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second to approve those payment applications. All those in favor? Any opposed? The ayes have it.
Sorry, Jim, I didn't want I just figured, yeah, get the final back. Then once you check it, what happened, sorry.
Okay.
We're paying them,
All right,
the
true.
inspector.
Yes,
Are we done with the green light goes?
Yes.
That's why
Okay. Administration and Police Department needs study. I know we're supposed to get a draft this month. I assume we haven't gotten it yet.
No, so Mr. Olson met with Chief Phillips the beginning of last week to, just kind of recap everything that the police department brought to his attention. Lee and I are meeting tomorrow morning to do the same for administration, and then the final report will be provided for the March meeting.
March council meeting.
Infrastructure
March
meeting.
infrastructure. Add 15 minutes to your day. Okay.
Please, like, we're making that one.
Yeah.
Wyoming Trail blazing signage.
Nothing back from PennDOT.
What's that?
Nothing back from PennDOT
Okay.
since it was submitted by TPD.
Nothing new. Okay. I'm sorry, I'm just comparing the last month's, making sure it was all right. Okay. Is there any old business to be brought in front of the committee?
I have an objection. Before you go, or if you want to put it at new business, whatever you want to do it.
Is this a sunshine law objection?
Yes, sir.
What is your objection?
It was discussed about a letter that was not presented, and again, I would like to understand why we can freely discuss about high grass, but we cannot freely discuss about trash. We received a letter that quoted the code, had an incomplete quote of the borough code. It was not clear what that letter, what Mr. Hogg wanted. We don't understand. We do our best to follow rules. Everybody in Wyomissing does the same thing. I don't see anything different on our street than any other street. And why can't we have an open discussion? Why can't we discuss what the deal is about? What is our problem? Yes, sir, it is a Sunshine Act issue. We need to be able to discuss. It's trash. We're talking about trash, not about secrets of the state or CIA or some other stuff. It's trash.
Well, I thought I stated in that part that there was someone complaining, went up to look, they noticed violations across the
Which is
entire
what?
block,
The
and
bor-
they sent a borough
Yeah,
letter.
what were
The
the
borough
violations?
received a written complaint, which is not subject to disclosure under right to know.
What is the reason? What was the violation about? We need to know which paragraph. What are we doing? What are we doing?
So it was.
Is that so hard to find? I'm not interested in who complained. I'm not interested about anything. What are we doing wrong? That's a simple question.
If you would let me finish.
I'm sorry.
It was a general complaint about either how trash was being placed out or the time frame trash was being placed out or the cans removed. And since it was involving multiple properties on Cardinal Road, in speaking with Jeff at Kraft, my suggestion to him was to send a friendly reminder letter to every resident on Cardinal as to what the refuse and recycling requirements are for when things can be placed out, the number of bags that can be placed out, that they have to be in sealed containers, etc. We were not singling anybody out, everybody was being treated the same, and again, it was not an enforcement notice, it was a friendly reminder letter that these are the regulations of the borough.
But again, the letter was incomplete. He had replaced the letters in the code with bullets. The paragraphs refer to paragraph J, and there is no paragraph J. It's an absurd letter. That means nothing. It's zero. We're wasting time. We're paying Kraft for nothing. Let's speak English, please.
I saw a copy of the letter and I thought it was perfectly
It has
understandable.
bullets. It has bullets.
I thought it was perfectly understandable as to.
Where is paragraph J?
Mr.
Okay, I'm
Taylor,
gonna stop
Yes,
talking because you're just
I
going on.
don't see this as a sunshine law violation. I think you, obviously you received the letter, you know what the letter said. So I can't imagine.
The
how-
sunshine violation is about not being able to discuss openly, just like we discuss about high grass. What is exactly the problem? We're just wasting time on nonsense. Okay, I understand it's one thing, I understand from her is that it was about the timing, which is true, some people leave there, but we can just say it, please don't leave your trash longer than this or that. What else is a problem?
If
Because
you don't understand the
Yes, sir.
letter, call the gentleman who sent you.
I did, and I received absolutely no answer. I also copied Michelle, still no answer.
You sent that to me the day before I left for vacation.
I'm
Mr.
sorry, I
Chair.
didn't send it to you, I sent it to Jeff Hogg, I CC'd you. It was not for you to answer it, it was for
All right.
Mr. Jeff Hogg
I
to
think we've
answer,
had
thank
enough.
you.
We had enough, and I think at the end of the day, I haven't heard any problems from any other people on Cardinal Road who have heard any other people that didn't understand the letter.
No.
Or they probably just ignored it.
Well, I haven't heard any complaints, that's all I.
All I'm asking is trash.
It's over.
Why do we have to have such a big debate to say, hey, this is what you're doing, that you shouldn't do this or that, and that's
Fair.
that. Fair, simple. So
Okay.
I don't
We just
think,
had it, thank you.
yes.
Any other old business? Anybody want to discuss any new business? Hearing none, I'll take a motion to adjourn. So moved. Motion in a second, all those in favor? Aye. We're adjourned, see you next month.